Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Wall Street takes another big hit after President Trump announces additional tariffs on Canada. We'll have the latest from the Live Center.
Plus, an underwater operation. Dive crews pulled a truck out of Falls Lake after a chase with law enforcement. What we've learned about what happened just moments before the truck plunged into the water.
And hopefully you can get outside and enjoy these nice temperatures already at 65. I'll show you how warm it gets today and how long this warm weather sticks around coming up.
Right now at noon, stocks are struggling after President Donald Trump announced extra tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum coming to the U.S. Thanks for joining us. I'm Chris Lovingood.
And I'm Renee Chu. Let's get right to Michelle McConaughey in the WRAL Live Center. Michelle, I don't know if we want to look at these numbers. This is looking as bad as yesterday.
Yeah, it really is. Another tumultuous day on Wall Street right now. A Dow Jones down 432 points. This comes after President Trump announced additional tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum coming into the U.S. In a Truth Social post, Trump said steel would go up by an additional 25%, bringing that to 50%. This will take effect tomorrow. The White House has placed tariffs on Canadian, Mexican, and Chinese imports, moves that have sparked fears of an economic recession. When asked about the possibility of a recession, the president says the economy is just going through a period of transition right now. Yesterday, the Nasdaq saw its worst day since 2022. The Dow lost nearly 900 points. So we are going to keep a close eye on stocks this afternoon.
Michelle, thanks. Durham County Sheriff's deputies are searching for a person who led them on a chase early this morning. That truck ended up in Falls Lake, and first responders did not find anyone inside. WRAL's Monica Casey is near that scene. And Monica, what have you been able to learn in this case?
Well, Renee, we're here on East Gear Street where the road ends. It's right next to 85, and where this road goes into unpaved territory is near where this truck went into the water. This dirt road leads to an embankment that's below I-85. This all started this morning around 2 o'clock when a deputy tried to stop that driver near Gear Street and US 70. That driver then led that deputy on a 6-mile chase. Investigators believe that person may have gotten out of the truck, which then ended up in the water. Broadcastify radio traffic shows first responders trying to search that truck in the water to make sure no one was inside.
We got the vehicle in sight. The water's up to the roof line. No indication of anybody in there. I think it'd be a good idea to just let the boats check it once they get up here.
Yeah, this was an hours-long operation. Our crews arrived on scene around 5:30 this morning, and around 6 a.m. that truck was pulled from the lake. Dive teams were also in the water searching Falls Lake. As of now, that driver of the truck has not been found. The Durham County Sheriff's Office tells us this investigation is ongoing. Live in Durham, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
Well, we are in for a midweek warm-up as you are looking live over downtown Cary right now. It's got a couple people out there pushing the strollers. Don't blame them. Temperatures are climbing. Meteorologist Amy Wilmoth is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. And Amy, just how warm could we get in the next few days?
We could approach 80 degrees a couple of days this week. Temperatures well above normal for the next several days, for the rest of the work week and into the weekend. A look at current temperatures in and around the Triangle. 65 in Raleigh. It's 62 in Knightdale and in Garner. It's 64 in Cary. Temperatures right now are 10 to 15 degrees warmer compared to this time yesterday. Zooming out a little bit, everyone in the 60s right now. It's 61 in Fayetteville, 62 in Rocky Mount, and 64 in Southern Pines. Highs today. It's going to be beautiful. Lots of sunshine. Try to get outside. Maybe head to the park or do something outdoors. 74 for the high in Raleigh and Durham and in Roxborough. 74 in Fayetteville. 73 in Southern Pines. And these warm temperatures will be here for a while. 78 for the high Wednesday. 75 Thursday. Getting close to 80 on Friday. And we'll probably hit 80 on Saturday. So warm temperatures. This is more like May temperatures that we're getting. And it's probably going to lead to some pollen issues. I'll have more on that coming up in just a bit. Also coming up, our next weather maker, a pretty strong system that impacts us this weekend. I'll talk about the severe potential with this round coming up.
Amy, thanks. State lawmakers are set to take their final vote on the latest Hurricane Helene relief package for this afternoon. The bill should be on the governor's desk by this evening. WRAL Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie joins us live from the state legislative building with how this will help folks in Western North Carolina. Laura.
Renee, when lawmakers started the session at the beginning of January, leaders here said Helene relief would be their top priority, but it's still taken more than 2 months to get this aid package together. For weeks now, leaders of the governor's recovery office have been telling state lawmakers their state funding is running low, and federal relief dollars are not expected to get here until sometime over the summer. The leaders here have been hesitant to spend too much more state money because they're worried about whether or not the federal government will cover those costs. And they've said they don't want to see a repeat of the delays and breakdowns that happened under the last recovery effort in North Carolina, Rebuild and See. Finally, today, there is an aid package that includes about $600 million in Helene relief and also more than $200 million to finish the work in the eastern part of the state.
About what is in this package and where that money will go.
Well, the largest chunk of the funding today, nearly $200 million, is for farmers in Western North Carolina. Many of them lost not just crops and equipment, but actually the actual topsoil on their farms. There's also $140 million to move ahead with rebuilding homes. Our recovery leaders say they are sure that those costs will be reimbursed by the federal government. An additional $100 million is going to rebuild private roads and bridges. Now, that's not something that we usually see public money used for. But up in the mountains, a lot of communities are connected to each other by those roads and bridges that are not maintained by the state. And lawmakers say getting those rebuilt is essential for utilities, emergency services, mail, and other needs.
Laura, once lawmakers agree on a package, is the governor expected to sign this bill?
It is less than the governor asked for. He had asked for about $1 billion, but he is just about certain to sign this, and probably very quickly, I would think. The $1 billion or so that lawmakers set aside for recovery last year has just about run out. Laura Leslie, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Today, lawmakers will discuss a bill that affects Duke Energy's carbon reduction goal, specifically no longer requiring the company to comply with it. The legislature instituted it about 4 years ago, and the new bill was filed yesterday. The GOP-controlled legislature is fact-tracking it, and it would also allow utility companies to start charging customers for new natural gas or nuclear plants while they're still being built. That means people could be paying for projects that are delayed or never even completed. Sponsors of the bill say the changes are necessary to keep energy affordable. Covering Wake County school leaders will get an update today on HVAC maintenance. Heating and cooling issues have led to at least 28 early dismissals this year. The district plans to spend about $20 million on HVAC projects for now. And the schools will get new boilers, 2 in fact, and 7 schools will get new chillers.
Halifax County is a step closer to opening its first new school in years. Within the last hour, leaders there celebrated the topping out ceremony for the new Eastman School. A topping off ceremony means the final beam is now in place on that structure. WRAL's Heidi Kirk is at the event right now. You can look for her report today on our news at 4. This project has been in the works since 2018. Eastman School will accommodate pre-K through 8th grades. Duke Health and Novant Health are teaming up to build new care locations across the state. Duke officials say more health care sites are needed to support growth in the Triangle, Triad, and Charlotte areas. What these facilities will be, how many, where they will be built, all unclear. The systems have said they will offer specialty services as well as telehealth and virtual care options. Construction for the first sites are set to begin this summer and fall.
Southwest Airlines says that it will start charging passengers to check bags for the first time. And the move reverses one of the carrier's biggest perks. Let's go and bring in WRAL's Noah Klein for this story. Noah, a lot of people like flying with Southwest because they didn't have to pay for that.
Chris, I can tell you a lot of people are going to be thinking about going to buy a duffel bag, some sort of carry-on. That's the real winner here. Bags no longer fly free. That's the message from Southwest this morning. This, of course, as you mentioned, goes against what the airline has been doing for more than half a century. If you've flown Southwest, you probably received an email about this earlier this morning. Top-tier passengers, part of the carrier's rewards program, or people flying Business Select, they still get those 2 bags free. Southwest didn't say how much it'll cost to check a bag, but fees start at $35 on competitors like Delta, United, and American. These changes, though, when you zoom out here, these are happening after months of pressure from activist Elliott Investment Management. That firm, they took a stake in the airline last year and ended up winning 5 board seats as it pushed for quick changes at the company. Southwest held on for decades here until now to those perks like free checked bags, changeable tickets, and open seating. As for what's next here, the new checked bags fees go into effect for tickets purchased on or after May 28th.
Oh boy, a lot of people watching that. Thank you, Noah.
Today, House Speaker Mike Johnson plans to bring a 6-month budget bill to vote in the U.S. You're looking live at the U.S. Capitol right now, where Congress has until Friday to make a deal to avoid a government shutdown. The bill Johnson proposes would cut about $13 billion in domestic spending. It would add money for defense and immigrations and customs enforcement. President Trump backs the plan. House Democrats say they oppose it. They are pushing their own continuing resolution that does not include the Republican cuts.
And back here in the WRAL Life Center, Governor Josh Stein announced new jobs are coming to Raleigh. More than 180 jobs. A tech firm, Ralliant, picked Raleigh for its headquarters with plans to create 180 jobs by 2029. This project could add almost $1 billion to our state's economy. The average salary, get this, $189,000 a year. Ralliant also considered Oregon for its headquarters, but it is coming to Raleigh.
Duke Energy is moving forward with plans to bring another nuclear power plant to North Carolina. The utility's long-term plan includes building a nuclear plant in Stokes County. Right now, Duke Energy is preparing paperwork to submit state and federal permits later this year. The proposed location would be 3 miles behind Duke's steam-powered plant near Ballows Creek. A reactor there could provide power for a large portion of the state, in fact. Effort to end war. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is in Saudi Arabia today. The meeting happening to end the war between Ukraine and Russia.
Dirty air everywhere. Why a new report says most of our planet's population is breathing polluted air. And what's being done to curb this.
And just desserts. See the result of a boy calling 911 when he didn't get his frozen treat. Bad boy.
Aw, I feel you.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
Today, we expect an update on the deadly plane crash over the Potomac River in Washington, D.C. You'll recall that involved an American Airlines jet and an Army helicopter colliding. And that happened as the plane was about to land at Ronald Reagan International Airport back on January 29th. All 67 people aboard the plane and 3 people on the helicopter were killed, including Durham native Rebecca Lobach. The news conference is expected to happen at 2, and we will be listening and bringing you any updates that we learned today on WRAL News at 4. Meanwhile, people in Greenland are voting in their parliamentary election today. President Trump's interest in the island is drawing more and more attention to the results. He says acquiring Greenland is necessary for national and international security. Denmark has controlled Greenland for about 300 years, but Greenland's parliament makes it its own decisions about its defense and its foreign policy.
Saudi Arabia is hosting a key summit today. Both Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky are there. NBC's Keir Simmons shares how Zelensky is trying to repair relations with Washington after his disastrous Oval Office meeting with President Trump.
Well, the U.S. and Ukrainian delegations are locked in a neighboring room from here, stopping for lunch but continuing their conversation. Secretary Rubio with a thumbs up as he entered the talks. The Ukrainians describing the atmosphere as constructive. The Secretary of State indicating on the flight here to Jeddah in Saudi Arabia that their main goal is to understand the position of the Ukrainians and of the Russians, but suggesting again that the U.S. is looking for Ukraine to agree to give up some of its sovereign territory. President Zelensky, who was here overnight meeting with the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, talking about some of the things he is looking for, including the handing over of prisoners, including children, but also saying that he had a conversation with the Saudi Crown Prince about security guarantees for Ukraine. That, of course, the vexed issue that inflamed that meeting in the Oval Office with President Trump. The damage from that is one of the issues the Ukrainians are trying to repair in this meeting. Meanwhile, the Russians once again indicating that they are not in a hurry for a ceasefire or certainly a deal. The Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov addressing Russians, saying that some people are rushing to put on rose-colored glasses about the new relationship between Russia and the United States, but saying, though, that Russia will, he says, defend its interests. Keir Simmons, NBC News, Jeddah.
The Department of Education is investigating at least 60 colleges and universities for possible civil rights violations. The agency sent out letters to some of the country's most prestigious institutions. That includes all but 2 Ivy League schools. It warns of possible consequences for schools that fail to comply with policies aimed to protect Jewish students from anti-Semitic harassment and discrimination, too. Protections for Jewish and other students fall under Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. According to a new study, 1 in 15 adults in the United States has witnessed a mass shooting. It also found about 2% of those who have witnessed a mass shooting have also been injured in one. Researchers surveyed more than 10,000 adults across the United States, and they found younger generations are more likely to be exposed to mass shootings. People born after 1996 were found to be at the highest risk.
Reality's quantified there. Beautiful view here at Dorothea Dix Park and all that sunshine out there. Meteorologist Amy Wilmoth has a look at where the golfers are out at this hour.
This is Pinehurst, the Resort and Country Club. Look at all the golfers. If I wasn't working, I'd be out here too. I don't even play golf, but I go out there too. It's gorgeous outside. A beautiful blue sky. Look at the deep blue sky that they have overhead. And this is another view. This is Fenton and Cary. Just very nice weather. The sun shining there as well. It's really shining across the entire state right now. 65 is the current temperature in Raleigh and in Durham. It's 62 in Rocky Mount, 64 in Southern Pines. About 10 to 15 degrees warmer right now compared to this time yesterday. So very nice and very comfortable. We'll be in the mid-70s this afternoon, 74 for the high temperatures. So perhaps a good day for a picnic or maybe dinner outside if you want to do some grilling. Even after work, if you're headed home after work, it'll still be very comfortable. We'll be at 70 at 6 p.m. and 67 at 7 p.m. So beautiful weather this afternoon. Hopefully you can get outside. If not, we have more nice weather in the forecast. 78 for the high tomorrow, 75 on Thursday, 79 Friday, and 80 on Saturday. The normal high this time of year is 61. And while we've had a couple of warm days this month and in February, this is a nice stretch. This is the longest stretch we've had in quite some time. And that's probably going to lead to some pollen issues. The tree pollen is already high. It will likely stay there today, Wednesday, and Thursday. We'll get a new report here shortly, but it's possible that the pine pollen could appear soon with these warm numbers. It's that yellow dust that covers everything. It's a real mess. I'll have more on the pollen and how long it could last once it starts coming up in the next half hour. The next weather maker, it is going to be a doozy perhaps on Sunday. We're considering a weather alert day for Sunday because it looks like a pretty strong system with a lot of moisture with it. It could bring us some heavy rain and the potential for some storms. Severe storms will be possible, and we continue to monitor that threat. In fact, this is a look at the severe threat starting Friday, continuing into Sunday. So this region here, this is the area that has the potential for severe weather Friday. It moves a little bit to the east on Saturday. It does not include our area, but Sunday, our area is included in the severe weather threat. Now, the timing, we're still trying to nail that down. We don't have high resolution model data just yet. We'll get that in the next few days, but it looks later in the day, late afternoon into the night. Probably not overnight, but late afternoon into the nighttime hours. Damaging winds will be possible. We could have some heavy rain that could lead to some flooding, and tornadoes are possible as well. So Sunday is a day I've already been working on the schedule, making sure that we're covered in the WRAL Severe Weather Center all day Sunday, and we'll have you totally covered if we do get some severe weather as we wrap up the weekend. But before that, it is just going to stay nice. Beautiful weather today, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Saturday, a couple of spotty showers showers are possible. Shouldn't be a big deal. It'll still be warm, 80 for the high. Then we have storms around on Sunday. And then Monday, St. Patrick's Day, a few showers and a little cooler with highs near 70.
Amy, thank you. We will enjoy this beautiful stretch and keep an eye out for this weekend's possible severe weather.
Yep.
Well, pushing for accountability coming up on WRAL News at 4. Another family comes forward after they say their child with special needs was left alone for hours at a local school. Ahead, what the school is saying about the incident.
Plus, at 5 o'clock, pain-free. A Fayetteville teenager diagnosed with sickle cell says he finally has his life back. The groundbreaking treatment that helped treat his severe pain. X marks the outage. The service interruptions Elon Musk is blaming on Ukraine, and why cybersecurity experts say that may not be the cause.
Plus, air quality concerns. What a new report found when it comes to the quality of air we breathe.
Hey, you know what? Well, we'll go back to that Southwest situation we were talking about, right? In today's live poll, we're asking if they will affect which airline you're going to fly with in terms of them removing the free checked baggage. We want to share your voice right now. Skew that QR code right there on your screen, or you can head to WRAL.com/yourvoice, and we'll share the results before the end of this newscast.
Elon Musk says X was targeted by a, quote, massive cyber attack after outages left people unable to use the social media app for hours. Users started reporting issues around 5:30 yesterday. Musk said on Fox Business Network that the attackers had IP addresses originating in the Ukraine area. Cybersecurity experts quickly pointed out that this does not necessarily mean that an attack originated in Ukraine. Now, it could be as late as June before we learn more about job cuts within the Department of Veterans Affairs. That's according to an internal memo obtained by CNN. Leaders with the VA are conducting a sweeping review of employees. Their plan on cutting and reducing the workforce will be submitted by April 13th. The blueprint is expected to be published in June with the department-wide cuts to follow. The memo states employee positions have to be justified for those workers to keep their jobs.
Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is taking steps to eliminate an FDA loophole on food safety. He's focused on a rule called GRAS. It's better known as generally recognized as safe. It allows food corporations to add certain food additives without approval if deemed safe for consumption. Now, critics say it's easy for manufacturers to add ingredients to products without any heads up to regulators. Kennedy says eliminating this loophole will get the nation's food supply back on track. The federal government is no longer accepting orders for free at-home COVID-19 tests. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services has not said why the ordering was paused or if the program is shut down permanently. The website said any orders that were placed before 8 p.m. on Sunday will still be shipped out. At-home tests will still be available at grocery stores and pharmacies, too.
HVAC update. The steps Wake County schools are taking today to make sure classrooms stay warm in the winter and cool when the temperature outside heats up.
And the gift of music. Next, how those recovering from Hurricane Helene in North Carolina are getting through this very difficult time.
And here's a look at your winning North Carolina education lottery numbers. We'll be right back. Covering Wake County, today we'll learn more about HVAC projects in Wake County schools.
Yeah, dozens of schools had to release students early this year because of heating and cooling issues. As WRAL's Kelsey Coffey explains, the steps being taken to upgrade the systems, they're being talked about today.
School leaders will get an update about those ongoing HVAC issues later this afternoon. And Holly Springs Elementary here is one of several schools that's supposed to get a new HVAC system next year. Right now, the district has more than $200 million in deferred HVAC maintenance. The Wake chapter of the North Carolina Association of Educators stepped in. They're asking county commissioners to put a bond referendum on the ballot. That would be used to boost facility spending, improve HVAC systems, and other building conditions. The district plans to spend about $20 million on HVAC projects for now.
We've had dozens of early releases just this school year, mostly when air conditioning wasn't working, but also when heating wasn't working on extremely cold days. So it's of really high interest to families and teachers and everyone that's really been disruptive to.
Today's meeting is only supposed to be an update and a discussion, so we'll be sure to let you know if there's a vote. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Wake County.
Today, Wiley Elementary School kicked off its Share Food Recovery Program. So SHARE stands for Stop Hunger and Restore Earth. And the goal is to help save unused leftovers from child nutrition services. That food is then used to feed students instead of ending up in landfills. Students can leave or take approved unopened foods such as fruits and packaged items during breakfast, even lunch. Pantry carts and a fridge will be available to students to use throughout the week as they're needed, but no requirements or registration needed.
Today, a makeover at the Rocky Mount Boys and Girls Club will be unveiled. The local errand store put together a new safe space for teens with new furniture, entertainment, and more. And the teens were given a $20,000 budget to choose the items that would help bring the new space to life.
We're in an area where, a lot of our young people, they don't have places to go. And we're making a place that they're going to be talking about when they go to school with their friends, because it's going to be so fantastic, man.
Kids will get a first look at the revamped space this afternoon.
Recovering from Helene has been incredibly trying for people in Western North Carolina, but that is why people are being gifted musical instruments to spark at least some happiness and healing. People gathered in Swannanoa over the weekend to receive these free musical instruments. And the founder of the national old-time radio show Wood Songs organized the effort. More than 1,600 donated instruments were given away.
To have this offering for our people here that have lost so much, to bring so much joy.
I thought it was great. Some of these guys, you can't replace what they lost, I lost a drum set and a PA system.
Music can heal. Wood Songs founder Michael Jonathan lives in Kentucky, and he says the victims of Helene have been on his mind for months.
Raleigh City Council will meet for a work session today. They will get updates on the status of parks and transportation bond projects. They'll also discuss efforts to develop a comprehensive plan for 2030 and beyond. The session will start at 4 this afternoon. City leaders in Durham want your help deciding how to spend nearly $2.5 million. The city will take ideas for city projects from residents until March 31st. Projects must benefit the public and involve building or improving public spaces or infrastructure. Past winning projects, to give you an idea, include a youth center for LGBT teens, bus shelters, and park improvements. The city is holding an event tonight at 6 at the Edison Johnson Recreation Center.
The State Department of Environmental Quality asked Chemours to expand well testing, specifically testing for PFAS contamination in private drinking well water near the Fayetteville Works plant. It includes portions of Cumberland, Sampson, Hoke, even Harnett counties. And this is expected to speed up the sampling process for sites that receive primary drinking water for private wells. It will also provide access to clean water to homeowners around this plant. Starting tomorrow, a portion of Creedmoor Road will be closed for 2 days. Just a heads up, drivers. Now, this isn't too far from the J. Alexander restaurant. Raleigh Water is working on a planned sewer improvement project, and they will close the left lane, again, the left lane of northbound Creedmoor on Wednesday and Thursday, too, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So expect delays when driving through that area. Water customers shouldn't see any services interrupted during that time.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, some exciting news. Avelo Airlines adding 3 new nonstop destinations out of RDU, where you were looking live this afternoon. Avelo will launch nonstop flights from RDU to Nassau, Bahamas in June. They'll also add nonstop service to Grand Rapids, Michigan and Wilmington, Delaware. That's in May. Nonstop flights to Nassau, that'll begin June 11th and fly seasonally on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Service to Wilmington starts May 22nd and will operate twice a week. Grand Rapids begins May 23rd, will also operate twice a week. Avelo began service at RDU back in 2022 with 1 route. They now serve 10.
I choose Bahamas. That sounds fabulous. Polluted air, not so fabulous. How much of the world breathes dirty air and what's causing this to happen? Plus,
he got the Siri activated and he said, "Hey Siri, call the police."
Call it a sweet emergency. Next, the hilarious reason why this little boy ended up calling the police on his mom. And let's just say he was feeling sour that day. Hey, just a reminder, the WRAL News app brings you the best of WRAL's reporting resources all in one convenient place right on your phone. You can download the newest version right now. What a win for the House of Mouse. A jury ruled against claims Disney stole the idea for one of its most popular animated movies, Moana. A federal jury found creators of the movie Moana did not take the idea from writer and animator Buck Woodall. The decision follows a lawsuit that Woodall filed. He claimed the movie was a little too similar to his script for Bucky the Surfer Boy. The jury found the creators never had access to Woodall's concept, and so that means it was not necessary to analyze the similarities between the two scripts. Researchers found burnout. That can cost employers up to $5 million a year in lost productivity. That includes missed workdays. And the study found burnout costs employers tens of thousands of dollars for non-managerial employees, managers, and executives. And some signs of burnout include a drop in performance, missed deadlines, and more mistakes in an employee's work. Researchers say employers, may want to focus more on their employees' health. Something to think about.
Believe it or not, a new report says that most of the world breathes in dirty air. Researchers based in Switzerland studied 40,000 air quality samples and monitored stations across 138 countries. And it found that 17% of cities around the world do meet air pollution guidelines. Air pollution experts say the actual amount of air pollution may be greater as many countries do not have the correct monitoring in place to accurately record it. And to make matters worse, the U.S. State Department is making changes as to how it shares air pollution data.
We might be losing a lot of the data from the U.S. State Department from these monitors located in embassies and consulates around the world. It's really devastating because I know of at least 5 countries where the U.S. is providing the only air quality data for that entire country.
Not knowing how polluted the air is in a specific area may be detrimental to a person's health, but some countries are taking the necessary steps to improve air quality. The worst air pollution comes from places where coal, oil, and gas are burned. Meanwhile, a new study found despite the world's top 20 most polluted cities last year were in Asia, except for one. The one that did not make the list was the capital of Chad. Well, out of that, 13 of the worst polluted cities were in India alone. The most polluted capital was New Delhi, the capital of India, for the 6th year in a row. The city with 33 million people has been dealing with high levels of air pollution for decades.
Utah will be the first state to ban fluoride in public drinking water. The state's Republican governor, Spencer Cox, says that he would sign legislation for this. It bans cities and communities from deciding whether to add the mineral to their water systems. Many dentists and national health organizations are very much against this move. In fact, the CDC says fluoride strengthens teeth and reduces cavities. It does this by replacing minerals lost during normal wear and tear. Your time is 12:40. New design plans. How Apple plans to revamp their tech systems this year.
And profit pause. Why one of the nation's largest airlines could see a decline in revenue this year.
Apple reportedly has major redesign plans on the way. According to a Bloomberg report, Apple plans to revamp the look of iOS, iPad OS, and Mac OS this year. The redesign is reportedly set to take place once the new operating systems launch. And the report says changes could include updated icons, menus, apps, windows, and system buttons. Apple could announce the update this summer, trying to keep up with Android. Rocket Mortgage is buying Redfin's online real estate brokerage platform. The Wall Street Journal reports the deal is worth nearly $2 billion, and the boards of both companies approved the sale. It's expected to close in the second or third quarter of the year. The deal is meant to connect Redfin's nearly 50 million monthly visitors to Rocket Mortgage products.
Delta Airlines expects profits to decline as it sees travel demand decrease in the U.S. The airline says it now expects its first quarter revenue to increase by at least 3% from last year. That is a decline from the company's prior projection of 7%. The airline says the reason for the forecast drop is people's uncertainty with the economy, which is contributing to a dip in domestic travel demand. Delta also says passengers are booking fewer flights last minute. The launch of NASA's new space telescope is postponed. The Sphere-X was scheduled to launch last night on a SpaceX 9 rocket from California. It was called off because of weather. The launch also plans to carry a mission studying how the sun affects the solar system. No launch date has been announced.
So earlier we asked you if Southwest's airline bag change would impact the way you fly right now. So 100% of you who have taken this already say yes, very much it will. I can understand why you would vote that way. And we'll continue to collect answers throughout the day, so you can share this with your friends by scanning that QR code on your screen or head to WRAL.com/yourvoice. I know Renee hates saving money, so I know you're probably in the no category for that, right?
Well, I end up flying Delta and American a lot just because of the destinations I need to go to and not so much as Southwest. But that's like the one perk that people love about Southwest. You take that away, they might as well fly any other airline.
They're trying to make some money, I guess.
Know.
Meanwhile, I think today you could go for a flight, sure, but I just want to go outside for a walk, Amy.
Yes, get some fresh air. It is gorgeous outside today, and this nice weather will stick around for the rest of the work week. This is a live look at downtown Raleigh. It's a beautiful blue sky over downtown right now, and it feels nice. 65 the current temperature. Winds are out of the northeast at 7 miles per hour. Eventually, they'll switch to the south, and we'll really start to warm up. We could get up to near 80 by the time we get to Friday and Saturday as well. For the next 3 hours, we're at 68 at 1 o'clock, 72, so into the 70s we go at 2 o'clock, and 74 at 3 o'clock. And that should be the high temperature for the day. And notice the sun icons. No clouds in the sky today. Maybe you want to play some basketball this evening after work, or you want to head out on some of the area greenways. It'll be really nice for that as well. Still 72 at 5 p.m., 70 at 6 p.m., and 67 at 7 o'clock with lots of sunshine. Those later sunsets allow us to enjoy this nice weather a little bit longer after work. Now, tomorrow is going to be pretty similar to today. It'll be a little chilly in the morning for the bus ride to school with temperatures in the mid to upper 40s. So you still might need the jacket. I came in today without the jacket, just kind of dealt with it, knowing that it'd be warmer this afternoon. And tomorrow afternoon, it'll be warm again, 76 for the high temperature tomorrow afternoon. Above average temperatures are in the forecast for today, and this is going to continue for the rest of the week. All of this red shaded region and orange shaded region is above normal temperatures, and this will continue through at least Saturday. So we have a nice stretch here of some warm temperatures, but that is not nice with the tree pollen. We just got this report in, and the tree pollen is moderate right now. It was high yesterday. I thought it might be high again today, but I have no doubt it's going to jump into the high category tomorrow. Cedar, juniper, and cypress are the primary issues right now. Pine not showing up just yet, but I'm sure that's coming too this week. The pine pollen usually lasts about 3 weeks, and if you're new to the area, the pine pollen, it causes a mess everywhere. It covers everything in yellow, so a lot of people like to cover their outdoor furniture and things like that. The tree pollen really starts to decline during the month of April. Last year, we had our peak tree pollen on April 1st. So we're still waiting for the tree pollen to peak across the area. The grass and the weed pollen will start to increase once the tree pollen starts to decrease. So we'll have to deal with that in May. Now, we have something coming that will help to wash some of the pollen away. This weekend, the next weather maker is a strong frontal system. Severe storms will be possible on Sunday. And this is going to be later in the day on Sunday. Heavy rain could lead to some localized flooding. We could have some strong winds, and also we have the potential for isolated tornadoes. Notice in this area, the yellows and the oranges, that's where we're below normal for rain in the last 30 days. So that's where we could really use some rain, and it does look like we're going to get some. This is going to bring some decent rain, an inch, maybe even an inch and a half in a few spots as we head through the next 7 days, and that would mainly be on Sunday. A nice stretch of weather between now and Friday, a couple of spotty showers Saturday, and then severe storms possible Sunday, and still a few showers possible for St. Patrick's Day on Monday.
A sweet surprise. Next, why these police officers showed up at this mom's doorstep. And let's just say she definitely did not break the law.
And we do have a look at your winning Powerball numbers right here. 17, 40, 47, 50, 55. The Powerball is 6, and the Power Play, it's 2.
As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today.
Yeah, right now, one of the things that we're watching right now, authorities searching for the person they say led them on a chase and then got out of a truck before it ended up in Falls Lake. The Durham County Sheriff's Office says this started as a traffic stop for someone driving near Gear Street and Highway 70. Deputies say the driver didn't stop. Instead, took off toward Falls Lake and then got out of that truck before it was submerged. The Sheriff's Office tells us that their investigation is ongoing. And state lawmakers are set to take their final vote on the latest Hurricane Helene relief package this afternoon. The bill should be on the governor's desk by this evening. The largest portion of funding, nearly $200 million, is for farmers in western North Carolina. Governor Josh Stein is expected to sign that package.
Wake County school leaders will get an update on HVAC maintenance today. Heating and cooling issues have led to at least 28 early dismissals this year. The school system plans to spend about $20 million on HVAC projects for now. 2 schools will get new boilers. 7 schools will get new chillers.
All right, so this next story, how you don't laugh or smile with it, I don't know how that's possible.
This is the cutest. A little boy in Wisconsin was not having it when his mom said he couldn't get any ice cream. Take a listen.
Did you call the police?
Yeah.
Why?
I told my mommy to go to jail.
Why do you want mommy to go to jail?
I didn't get ice cream.
He didn't get ice cream. The little boy named WRAL called the police on his mom, all because he didn't get a sweet treat. Spoiler alert, his mother did not get arrested, but WRAL did end up getting a warning, and the officers, boy, they got a kick out of it.
I mean, this is probably one of the best calls we'll have for our whole entire career. He was very adamant that this was a police matter, and we did let him know what guidelines it is to call the police.
Let's talk about what constitutes an emergency. While WRAL had a change of heart and asked police not to pursue charges, he did end up getting a sweet treat from his new friend.
Although arguably, in his defense, Wisconsin, known for dairy products, you ask for ice cream, you don't get it. Kind of a crime if you think about it.
Yeah,
I'm on his side.
Sometimes you gotta say no. Mama's gotta say no, but
I'll learn that as becoming a dad very, very soon.
It's hard to say no sometimes.
Italian Whippet called Mucha is the top pooch at this world's biggest dog show. Mucha is 4 years old. Her handler describes her as the sweetest dog. She is the first Italian dog to win the coveted Best in Show prize at the event, and the 4th Whippet to win the prize overall. I had to Google how to pronounce the name. M-I-U-C-C-I-A. Mucha is how it says it, and if I'm saying that wrong, someone please correct me.
That brings us to today's pet of the day. You'll be able to pronounce this, Jolly Rancher. He's an 8-year-old yellow lab with a sugar-sprinkled muzzle.
Oh.
Jolly Rancher has a whole lot of energy, loves being outside. For more information about this sweet Jolly Rancher, please reach out to Wake County Animal Center's volunteer matchmakers at the email on your screen with the subject line, Jolly Rancher.
Oh.
Oh, sweet boy.